have to talk about a lot of stuff actually. I have so much that I need to just like put out there that this is the only way that I could think to capture all of my thoughts. So it's been a couple of weeks. I think the last live stream I had was not last week, but the week before. And so this is overdue, and it's on a Monday. A very not normal day, not typical day. But I had a couple of thoughts that I want to talk about. So let me see if I can just go through everything that I want to discuss, everything that I want to discuss, and then I have to remember that I said what I said so that I can talk about it. So, okay, y'all. So, where do I start? So, one of the things that I want to talk about is this idea of like not live stream, but long form content being like this new wave, even though it's like not new, it's definitely not a new concept. But I feel like there is this like system that I've been using with all of my clients, all of my people that I didn't even trip off of. And so I want to talk about that and I want to work through it because but the framework that I'm referencing to do this is actually tied to the way that I see movies marketed, the way that I see artists market their albums and their I say their album. So we'll stick to that. And then also the way that TV shows are marketed. So I think those are like the big ones. I don't really see it as much when it comes to books. I feel like books are a little different, but the other aspect that I was thinking of is how they market the news. So like big media outlets, not just the news, but I don't know how to describe that without it being the same thing as like a TV show or a series. But I want to play around with that concept and what we can take away from that as people who are entrepreneurs, creatives, and we are looking for ways that we can have a sustainable approach to creating content. Like that's one of the big ones, but not just having it be sustainable, but I feel like people are just tired of short form content. And being in this, it is turned into this rat race that I feel is exhausting so many people who identify as deep thinkers, who are very intellectual, who are the type of creators who create thought leadership content, and people whose work, what they do doesn't fit into a 60-second reel. And although there is definitely longer options now, even for short form content, which is very funny because is it still short form? So I don't even know if, like how that even applies now. Like, are we calling short form content the type of content that is a particular length? Or is it just the format of it, like literally it being a vertical video? So that's also an interesting thing to talk about. I probably won't go too deep into that though, because I don't really care about that as much. Like that's interesting, but I haven't really done any digging on that part yet. But that's one thing I want to talk about. And then this other thing that I want to talk about is pertaining to that same vibe of feeling like fatigued and tired of their content and why that's happening and what I believe is the sore point for people and what it is that they really want with their content. So those are the big ones. I feel like there were some other things that I had in my mind as well. I still have to go back and do my creative thinking styles. Like I said I was going to continue that series, and then y'all I completely just whoop, like I blanked on that series. And it isn't because I stopped using creative thinking styles. However, it is because my focus shifted in what I was marketing. So I do want to talk about that some, but I really want to talk about this new offer that I have put together called Pull the Thread. And in this offer, it is for the people who want content to feel fun again. They want to have creativity. They want to have a sense of accomplishment, a sense of joy and excitement when it comes to what they create. They want to feel alive again in their content. Like that's like the best way to put it. They want to feel alive again. And it's particularly for the people who have been in business for a while, the people who have been creating for a while, the people who have been, they know how to create content that's going to sell. They know how to create content that's going to convert. They know how to make the professional content. However, they're at a place now where like that stuff is just getting boring. Like it's getting boring. You're hitting a cap and it's feeling like there's this itch like I need something more. I need something else. And for some people, they're still moving along. They're still doing what they got to do to keep their business running and going, and they haven't abandoned it. However, they do feel this monotony and this desire for things to expand, like for it to evolve. And maybe that's where I really want to talk about and touch on and what that sensation feels like, because I feel like I'm in that place too, where things are shifting, and not even just shifting, but it feels like an evolution and it feels like I'm in the middle of it. And it feels like there's what I really desire and want, the more, the greater, the bigger it feels like I can see how it can manifest more clearly. However, I also feel the gap from where it is I want to be and where I currently am. And that to me is the sensation that leads me to believe that that's where I'm at. Like that's the place that I'm in. And so that's one group of people. And I believe that there's another group of people that are more in line with feeling burnt out. And the thing that I want to be particular about with this is that I don't really feel like you are truly burnt out. And I say this because burnout is one of those terms that I feel has started to get used very, very casually. And while there are definitely people who are experiencing it, and when you experience it, it is truly debilitating. Like it knocks you back, and it is this deep feeling of exhaustion and frustration and grief and confusion, uh, shame. There are so many conflicting emotions that come with it, and it is almost like you are in a place where you know you could just keep doing what you've been doing, but there's also a part of you that's rejecting it. And whether that's on a physical level, if your burnout is manifesting physically, or whether it is more emotionally and you just are tapped out, you're just disconnected, and it feels like I don't have anything for anybody, including myself. And you are in a place where it feels just confusing all of a sudden. Like things just don't make sense no more. And so when I think about burnout, when I think about true burnout, that is where I go to, and that's what I think about. But with the people who I feel are feeling it but aren't truly in a place of burnout, I that's those are the people that I feel are also in a similar place where it is a shift that's needed, or something needs to be acknowledged, something that you feel even on a deep soul level, something that you feel needs to change, needs to shift, that you are ignoring. I think that's the best way to summarize it. You're ignoring it. You're putting it on the back burner. You're suppressing it. You're saying, I'll get to that later. I don't have time for that right now. I just got to go. And so what you're experiencing is the fatigue that comes from trying to press without acknowledging what it is that your 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 body is trying to tell you, or yeah, your body, I was going to say your mind, but it's all your body. Whatever your body is trying to tell you, whatever you are trying to tell yourself, you are not recognizing it or giving it space to reveal what it is. So those are the things that have been on my mind and have been circling. And the thing that makes it so challenging for me sometimes is when I go too long in between simply sharing my thoughts and my process, I start to get really backed up. So today is really like a brain dump, if I'm being honest. And my hope is that in this brain dump, there's going to also be some usable content that I can use and post. If it's not, I will simply take the thoughts now that they are out of my head and rework them things and let that be what it's going to be. So, yeah, I want to just process all of those things. And so, let's go to the first thing that I talked about. Let me make sure I remember where I started. So, I was talking about I was talking about long form content. So let's start there. So there was this conversation that I was having with one of my biz besties, and we were discussing our current offers that we were marketing, and we were tag teaming it basically. So we're serving as accountability for one another and a place to just feel supported, bounce our ideas off one another. So that's the gist of the relationship. And so I was talking about the offer that I have, Pull the Thread, which I mentioned earlier. And in it, I was going through all of the things that I feel were working in this launch because I am in launch mode for it. So everything that's been working for the launch, everything that I feel could improve and things that I would like to tweak and work on. And so we were talking about those. And one of the things that she said to me that I thought was so cute and honestly felt surprising, like, whoa, that's how you see me? That's so cool to me. And so she called me a long form queen, specifically talking about long form content. And so I was telling her about the work that I've been doing with one of my clients and how we've been focusing on long form content for her. And my strategy, no matter who I've worked with, it has always been to focus on the long form first. And when I look back at all of the work that I've done, I have always pushed people to process their ideas and start with a long form concept first. And so, whether that's a podcast, YouTube channel, blogging, whatever it is that allows them to fully flesh out these ideas and these thoughts, these concepts, that is what I would always focus on. Because what I noticed for myself and for a lot of the people that I tend to attract, we are deep thinkers. Sometimes that deep thinking turns into overthinking. And I have some thoughts on why that happens that I want to talk about too. So, when I suggest the long form, primarily it is because live stream is the other form that I couldn't think of. Long for a live stream. So those are the four that I tend to like kind of like push people towards. And so I do that because what I noticed is that it helps you to really form your thoughts, your ideas, the concept, whatever the theme, whatever it is that you are looking to convey and express in your content. Long form has always been the most effective method because when I think about creating content, I don't think short form first. And the reason why is because it feels like you're taking this really big idea and you're trying to take it and bring it down to this level. And you're trying to like zone in on one particular aspect of it to convey this whole idea. And it's always been, it's interesting now that like seeing how people see you and then reflecting back on how you are and seeing the connections. I was realizing that that's what helps. So a lot of people who end up trying to get into this short form content game, one of the biggest challenges that they have is I don't know how to put my entire idea into a short form video. And that's always been the case. It feels like I talk too long. My videos never end up being in within that time frame. I'm rambling when I talk. It feels like my hooks aren't strong enough. And so when people think about that, they start automatically thinking, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at short form content. Short form is not for me. However, when we think about how effective short form content is when it comes to awareness, when it comes to selling, especially when it comes to low ticket products and services, those you can't escape short form, and I don't think that you should. But what I've noticed though is that the order of operation is really what throws people off, because the biggest things that people have, again, thinking about how do I take this big concept and put it into a short video, and the answer is that you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to take a big concept and put it into short form. Short form is best used to give a idea, to get to convey something very concise, very quick. And so when I was trying to formulate, okay, how do I explain this to people, because again, like I am like my clients, I have to start this out long form. My ideas got to get bigger, and then I can extract the points that I want to use. And so when I thought about that and what I have observed that connects to it, the thing that comes to mind is media. So traditional media, TV shows, movies, uh, artists. And so when I was thinking about the different ways that they do it, and I started to really pay attention, not just to the artists themselves, I'm not just looking at, do I like this artist? Is their music interesting? Do I think they're a good person or not? Like, what scandal are they involved in? Like that stuff is like cool for the consumer side. But when I'm thinking about this and I have my strategist hat on, I'm watching how artists, how movies, how TV shows, how series, how even the news, how they are marketing something bigger, but they're also marketing something smaller. So let me give an example that I believe is going to really put this into perspective. So let's use a movie, for example. So when we think about a movie, we know when a movie is created, when they're like, okay, we're gonna make this movie. First of all, there is so much that goes on behind the scenes before the movie even goes into production that we're not even aware of. And some of the stuff that is a part of the process is very, very unglamorous. And it almost makes you like, it almost kind of takes you out of the entertainment aspect of a movie. But when you think about how they're thinking about, okay, what is the actual story that we're telling with this movie? At what point in time is this coming out? What are people gravitating towards right now? What is that we want to tap into that we're noticing is trending, or that is where how people are consuming media? So like there is actual research that often goes into whether or not this movie is even going to happen. And then on the more creative side, they are actually thinking about, okay, what story am I telling? What artists, what actors are going to be involved in this? How do we actually take this and put it into production and create it? And so I don't know all the ins and outs of creating a movie, so I can only give very general ideas of this. But the point is that there is already a behind the scenes process before this movie is even made. And so when we think about that in terms of us and our content, what this would look like is testing out concepts, ideas, and thoughts that we believe are going to be important to our people, that are going to be relevant to them, testing out how they respond to different parts of our story, if our story is going to be involved in what it is that we are using to market, or even testing out different forms, different styles of content in a low risk way. So that can look like using threads. Like I use threads often to test out concepts. Or sometimes if I'm in a mood where I think that it needs to be a video, I'll record a quick video and post that on TikTok and see how that does, how it performs. So both of those platforms are places where I am often testing concepts, ideas, and seeing how people respond to it. And so when I have a gym, like I did with my Kiki Palmer post a few weeks ago, and that one ended up going viral, that is absolutely an indicator. Oh, let me stay in this world. Let me play here because I've already tested this concept in connection to my offer, because it was never just let me just see if this is going to be fun. I'm doing this all together, so let me test out this concept, let me see how it goes, how it works out, and then I'm going to see how people respond to it. And so it's not always going to be a viral post. However, the way that people respond to it, how they engage with it, especially if it receives more engagement than what you typically post, that is also a good indicator. So in our world, that is the equivalent to the work that goes behind the scenes in creating this movie. And so once the movie is a go, they got the funding that they need, it's time to go into production, we are already starting to hear whispers about these movies. So we're hearing this Iron Man 17 is going into production. We hear about that and we know that it's happening even before there is anybody on set, before we know who all gonna be on the cast, who all gonna be there. We don't even know when the movie's coming out yet. We may have an idea, they may give us a time frame, but we're already hearing about this movie before it goes into production. So as if you're catching my drift, you'll see how the part of the marketing of these big productions is that there's always these seeds that are being planted and these little bugs that you're putting in people's ear even before the full thing goes into effect. And again, you're going into it most times, often anyway, you're going into it with a very good idea of whether or not this is something that people would even be interested in, right? So that's where the correlation is, and that's what I'm trying to get you to see. So now we got the movie going, is in production, and the movie is, let's say they've wrapped up filming and the movie is completely done, and they're editing it, but now this is where they start to get into PR mode, and they start hitting hitting the streets. They start going on and doing the interviews. You start seeing content from the actors, and that is where you start to see them marketing this movie and talking about it. And so the best way for me to connect this with the way that I do content, I'll use myself for these examples. So if I have a video that I know I am maybe doing a script for, or maybe I'm getting prepared for it, I'm talking about this video while it's in production, while I'm working on it. So I'm talking about the things that are relevant to it. I'm participating in conversations that are relevant to whatever the topic is of this. I'm giving little teasers and little snippets of what is going to come once this long form video is going out. And so that is the equivalent to going into the PR mode. Now, the thing that's really dope though is that when a movie is about to come out, they also have trailers. They also have like little spoilers where we get to see some of the scenes. We get to hear the actors answer some questions about the plot without giving away too much. And so those interviews are like your short form content. And so the cool thing about this concept is that you don't have to wait, and you don't have to do this while it's in production. You can still use the whole trailer concept. You use a trailer concept as your short form content. And so, what I hope that you're starting to realize is that you are taking the content that you create and you're creating an entire world around it that supports it and brings people to it, because ultimately the goal of all of the content, all of the marketing, all of the advertising is to get people to watch the movie, because the movie is where they make the money. Y'all catching me? The movie is where they make the money. And so when we're thinking about our content, especially our long form content, one of the biggest motivators and reasons why long form is never going anywhere, especially for people who are entrepreneurs who are using long form content to market their businesses, is because it is extremely, extremely simple to convert people with long form content, because you have everything that you need here. You get time spent with that person. And especially if you're like me and you be doing these ultra long videos, people have more than enough time to get familiar with you, to feel like you are a real person, to understand your frameworks, your philosophies, to understand how your program, your offer, your product, your service, how it functions, to be able to even ask you questions, especially if you're doing it on live. You have a live stream, you're literally there with your people. You get to talk to them, you get to hear their feedback, you get to hear their concerns. And so it really does end up being a mutually beneficial experience. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I do highly suggest long form content. If you can do it, not long form, live stream. Live streaming is so effective, y'all. And so when you think about that, and all it having all of the pieces, all of the things that you need in order to have someone encounter you, see that you are competent, understand what you have to offer them, and then being supported in making that next step and having all the information that they need to make the next step. It is highly effective, especially if what you do is not so easy to just explain. For me, it my what I do is not always easy to explain. It's not. And the best way for me to explain it oftentimes is to tell people, or to show people rather, what it is that I do and how it works. And so I do that through case studies. Sometimes I'll do that by answering people's questions. And so there are a lot of different ways that you can demonstrate what it is that you do. You could have behind the scenes. There are so many different things that you can share that shows people what you do, because for a lot of my people, that is what works. That is the best thing for us, because if we try to explain it, it starts getting too wordy. You confused, I'm confused, we all confused. It can end up being too much. And so what we're doing again is we're our everything that we do is in an effort to get people to the thing that's going to convert them. And so the framework that I have been looking to simplify and explain it is this one right here. How do we make it so that your long form content is is it is almost like your freebie. You're creating it and it's becoming the thing that really brings in those leads for you, because it's doing all the work. And you want to know one of the things that really sold me on this concept, because I already felt like I was like, girl, you tapping into something for real here. I Let's stay in this world. Let's make this a thing. Well, when I really knew I was onto something was when I started to see different service providers online talking about how they convert people without getting on sales calls with them. And they do it through video. Their videos are so thorough. Their videos do such a great job of explaining what it is that they do and are demonstrating rather what it is that they do, answering people's questions, addressing their concerns, and making it so that by the time they're done with that video, they know that they're ready to take the next step. And so a lot of them have been using that in lieu of getting on the phone with people, and it has been working for them. And so when I started hearing people say that, and I've heard more than one service provider say this, that was when I knew, okay, this is it. This is it. And where and seeing where this all fits together in terms of creating an entire ecosystem for your content and what you do. And so when I thought about how simple that is, and when you think about it that way, I feel like that is one of the biggest hurdles that people have to come to terms with, rather. Because I do believe that there are actually other challenges that people have when it comes to long form content that I am starting to take note of so that those can also be addressed, because I believe it is extremely challenging for people who have had a lot of success with short form content to then try to transition into long form, because short form content doesn't always encourage you to formulate a full concept. Like, you really are working with very limited material. And so it the what you would have to do for a 3-minute video is definitely different than what you would have to do for a 30-minute video. And even when it comes down to some of the more technical things like watch time and how long your viewer retention is, those are all things that you also have to figure out. And even like things like thumbnails, titles, those feel a little different than they do on like an Instagram or a TikTok. But those are, to me anyway, those aren't as big of a deal as just understanding how to actually formulate your video, how to format your video rather, so that there is that flow there. And so that's one part of it. I believe the other part of it though is that sometimes people will say like, oh, well, what am I going to talk about for an hour every week? Every time I go live, what am I going to do? Or for some people, they don't want to just sit down and talk. Like, they don't want to just be like how I am. You can just sit down. I can do this all day. I actually do want to have a little bit more variety in my content, and I will, especially now that I've been using Riverside to stream. But I do want to talk about how you can even add some variety and make what you do fun and really truly enjoy it. And so what I'm coming to realize is that I believe that people need space to have fun. People need space to really process their thoughts, their ideas, to do the things that are actually interesting to them and interesting to other people because of how interested you are in it. And I think that people like take for granted how likely it is that you'll have someone who will be interested in what you do because of how passionate you are about it. Like, think about how many times you've watched a video about something related to science and you yourself don't particularly care about that, but the person's passion for it brings you in. Like, perfect example, there's this woman I just encountered who talks about bugs. I think she calls herself, I forgot what her name is on there, how she branded herself. But she was doing this video on mosquitoes, and she said something about how mosquitoes are What did she say? Do like if a mosquito sucks your blood while you're high, does the mosquito get high? And so she answered the question, but in the midst of her answering the question, she also dropped like all of these facts about mosquitoes that even I didn't know. And so I say that like I know that much about bugs. I don't know that much about bugs. I don't care about bugs. I really don't care to learn about them. But the her interest in it and her passion for it makes me stop and watch her videos every single time. And so seeing her break this down and how much fun she has with it, and even she gets like she has like this ski mask that she puts on, and this syringe that's supposed to like mimic the whatever it's called that the mosquito got where it suck your blood from. Like she'll have that like it's simulated. So she really gets into it. Like she goes into character. She's very animated, has a lot of energy when she talks. And it is fun. It's fun to watch. It makes it fun to learn. And although I am not going to go and now research bugs, I'm interested in it because she's interested in it and her passion influenced me. And so that's what I want people to realize about themselves. And I'm wondering, and y'all let me know if this which part of this relates to you, but I'm wondering if there are people who feel like what they're interested in doesn't interest other people. Like if what you share is too niche or is too weird or it maybe it's too technical, it's too nerdy, whatever you have deemed it to be that's too much that people wouldn't care. I would love to hear if that is a part of it for you, if that's a hang up, because I want to know what it is that makes it so hard and so challenging. So, with all of that being said, one of the things that I have come to the conclusion on when it comes to this, especially for people who are not new to creating content or not new to using content to market their business and have seen success in doing it strictly for the sake of running their business, but now they want more of they just want more for it. They're tired of it. Like they don't want to just show up and give you three tips on what you need to do to start your podcast. You know that they don't want to keep doing content like that. And so how do you navigate bringing more into what you do without it becoming an influencer page? Because I don't believe that you want to be an influencer. I don't believe that that's what people are saying. But what I do know is that you envy, and don't, that's not the word you would use, fine. But you be looking at the influencers and you're like, man, I love how much fun they have. You are gravitating towards that content more and more because there is a certain level of freedom and fun and creativity and joy that comes from them creating content that they also get paid for. Like they still get paid and they're making this type of content. And so that is something that is very appealing when you have been in this world, in this business world for so long, creating content that you know is going to convert, that you know is going to sell, but it doesn't have you in it. And one of the things that I know that you probably know this by now, but really thinking about what could open up for you and how the cap can be removed if you decide that I am going to bring more of myself into my content. And you know what? Let me pause there. Let me pause there because as I'm saying it, I don't feel like that's what y'all are struggling with either. So let me know if I'm on base with this. I believe that what it really is that you don't know how. You literally don't know how to bring it together. And that's where the overthinking starts to happen because now you're saying, do I need to start a new page? I mean, oh, If I could have a dollar for every time I've heard somebody say that, I have a couple dollars. But I hear people say that so much. People are always saying, like, do I need a separate page? Did I just make this my business page and then start over? And you can if you want to. At this point, if you want to manage multiple pages, you absolutely can. Feel free, go for it. However, I do not feel that it's unnatural. It's not necessary. What you really need to know is, how do I start to integrate these things into what I do so that the way that I am expanding feels natural, so that the way that I'm expanding doesn't feel like I'm adding on another chore. And for a lot of people, like, do you want another page? Like, do you want to manage another page? Do you want to post another page? Do you want to manage both pages? Those, like, these are all things that you have to think about. And if you can, I absolutely believe that you should just stick to the page that you got, unless you really want to focus in on a particular hobby or skill, or an obsession, whatever it is. If it makes more sense for you to separate it, then again, feel free, go for it. But what I love is being able to see people who make that expansion, who let that happen all in the same space. Because one of the things that you have the ability to do is to bring people along on this. Like, let people know what's up. Let us know, hey, I know y'all been here and y'all followed me because I'm the person that does really good showing you how to sew. Like, that's what you know me for, that's what you've come to me for. And while I still love doing that, I'm realizing that I want to expand this now into having a talk show. I literally follow a stylist, a fashion psychologist, and one of the things that she expanded into with her current brand is into having an entire show, like a whole, like think like what not to wear, expanded into a whole TV show on the same page, same brand, under the same umbrella. And it makes sense because although she's not literally teaching, because she does have a school, she has an academy, and she teaches people fashion psychology, so you can learn that. And she's primarily been more in a educator role, but now slowly starting to move into more like media personality. And that expansion feels natural. And so now, even if she decided that her next move in media was not going to be fashion related at all, she can still make that expansion and branch off of the fact that she has already done something. She's already done a TV show before. She's already done a series before. So her going into that now makes sense. And so I think that, like, just thinking about how it branches and how it moves is really what you need. But people tend to overthink it. Like, you're making it way more complicated than it needs to be. But sometimes you can't help it. You're too involved in it to see how it all comes together. And that is one of the biggest things that I want people to be able to experience with Pull the Thread. Because in this series, in this workshop series, I'm showing you each layer that you need, each thread that you need to pull, so that you're able to see, what am I naturally starting to lean into? What am I naturally starting to do already? How does this what are the things that I'm already noticing that I want to share? That's where you start. Not, oh, okay, let me try to make this whole map and strategize my whole life. Sometimes you're not going to find the path until you just start doing stuff. And I know that sounds like it's like, okay, that's like a toss away, but literally, you just got to start doing stuff. The path is not going to always be completely mapped out. So if you're waiting for everything to make sense, is not. The best thing that you can do is to start with where your curiosity is naturally taking you. And so that's the first thread. That's the first thread, the first step that we pull. Actually, let me get this. Let's bring in a visual. Okay. Oh yeah, a good amount of this is showing. Okay, so this is the map that I did for it to show y'all what we are going to be doing. So this says day, but it means week. So each week, each workshop focuses on a different aspect. So the first one is what I was saying. This is where we do the fun inventory and we figure out what is it that is what's drawing you in, like what is it that you really want to get out. There is a whole set of questions that I'm going to walk y'all through that's going to help you to think outside the box, because it really isn't about business. Like we can't even start there. We can't start with the business first. We have to start with what are we drawn to, what is our curiosity leading us to. So that's the first day. Then day two is where we start to find the sparks. So this is where we get to really start to feel how what it is that we're drawn to and what it is that we already do business wise, how those things start to connect. What's bringing these things together? What are these sparks telling us? Then the next thread is making the connection. And this is the part where it turns your fun into authority. And this part is, I feel, probably one of my favorite ones. I actually like the other threads that are coming up too. But this one I like because this is where you start to see that what you are naturally drawn to, what you're curious about, the things that you feel have nothing to do with what you do, with your business, actually have a lot to do with it. And when you can understand what is at the root of it, what's the common thread in all of them, that is where you start to see how to take it and translate that into your authority and you start to use it to your advantage. So that's the third one. Day four is when we turn it into content. And one of the things that I wanted to emphasize with this is that it needs to be repeatable, because when you have a system for creating across the board, not just content, when you have a system for creating, it relieves so much of the fatigue and the exhaustion and the overwhelm that you feel when it comes to creating, because now you're not thinking of everything at the same time. Like think about how easy it is when you already have an entire system for how you edit a video. And if you get stressed out by editing, that's probably where your problem is. You don't have a system for it. But when you do have a system, the people that do, you know what I'm talking about. When you have a system and a flow for how you do your content, now it makes sense to you. Like that part you don't have to think about. Like that's the part that's like, oof, okay. So now it actually gives you space to be more creative. It gives you space to refine what you already do and improve on it and make it even better. And so what we'll do is take everything that we've done in these other workshops and we start to turn that into repeatable content genres that again are custom to you. You get to create this. This is coming from your creativity, your brain, and I'm showing you how to do that for yourself. So, once you turn it into repeatable content, then our fifth one is turning that into a way that it connects to your offer. So basically like building the bridge. And that's the last thread. You're literally showing how what you do connects to your work. And one of the examples that I want to give for that one in particular, because I feel like visuals just help. But one of the visuals that I want to give for that, examples rather, is how I have managed to bring fashion. I have managed to bring, even, I can talk about tech. I can talk about tech, like technology. I can talk about cameras, microphones, lighting. Like I can talk about equipment. I can talk about makeup. I can talk about my nails. All of this goes into creative expression and content at the same time. I could talk about all of these things and I can make them work together because the root of what they go to with what I always do, the common thread is creative expression. And no matter what I've done in my life, that has always been at the root, creative expression and showing people that they are creative and what their creativity looks like. And so when I understood that, I don't feel as intimidated by not sitting down at my camera and saying, this is how you build a personal brand. Step one, da 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 da. Step two, da 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 da. Because everybody that talks about branding does that. And that was probably one of the most frustrating things that I felt when I was making my transition from styling to branding, is how generic my content felt. In the beginning, y'all, it felt so generic. I was so irritated with it because I was like, what makes me different? What makes me stand out? Like what I can't, I cannot stand it. And as somebody who, with my style, I'm not even like that. I don't like wearing what everybody wears, and it's not even because I don't like looking like everybody. It's literally because if I look like everybody else, then that means that I'm not really expressing myself. It means that I could have added something. I could have tweaked something. I could alter it a certain way, because it's not about not wanting to, it's not about wanting to stand out, but it's about needing to express myself and needing that to be portrayed. And I just don't like wearing things that makes it feel like I'm fitting somebody else's agenda. So I don't like uniforms. I've never liked uniforms. It's all the way through elementary school. I had 1 year where I had to wear them and I could not stand it. I don't like it because I felt like I now have to dress to fit somebody else's agenda, to fit somebody else's whatever, and push, whatever it is, I have to conform, and I don't want to do this. I want to be able to, I don't mind being a part of something, but I still need to feel like an individual at the same time. So that's me. And so when all of my content was starting to look like everybody else's, I was like, ooh, mm-mm. And the information was good. It was helpful, but I also felt like it made me very forgettable, because if you are already looking at a bunch of branding content, and if you are scrolling, especially on TikTok, you're absolutely seeing a bunch of the same stuff. So if you're already interested in the topic, they're going to show you, they're going to serve you up a bunch of people that do the same thing. And if you don't have something that makes it different, that makes it distinct, then that is going to make it easy to forget you. And it's not even just about having a catchphrase or having an introduction that everybody can recognize. For me, it was about understanding my perspective and the lens with which I approach branding. And inside of branding, because that is such a broad term, what is it that I want to do inside of it? And so where I've found my home is in this creativity, in this creative lane, this creative entrepreneur, creativity, creative expression, individuality, creating something that's custom, understanding yourself, and being able to be the full version of you, and being able to express that and being confident in it, even if it doesn't look professional, if it doesn't look like what everybody else is doing, if you don't speak the same way, use the same terminology that everybody uses, or if the way that you would approach something, it goes against the other people in your industry, being able to be confident even in that, even in your philosophy being different, your framework being different. All of those things are what I that's where I play. That's my space. So being able to understand that and know that, even though it might look like I'm doing a bunch of things that aren't related, I know they are, because I can always find the common thread in those things. Now, the things that don't make sense, the things that don't fit that, I just don't touch on it. And it's actually made it so that I feel a lot more relief. Like, I don't have to put everything in content. Everything literally does not have to be content. And I'm so glad that we're finally getting away from that. The everything is content, everything is content. Like, that person, they were well meaning, and I don't think that they meant record everything in your life, but I think it was meant to be more anything can be content. And I feel like that's probably the better phrase. Anything can be, but everything doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be. And especially for people whose primary goal is really to market their businesses. You're an entrepreneur. You don't necessarily identify as an influencer, and maybe you do. I actually have something for y'all if you do. But if that's not it's not the only thing that you do. Like you're not just primarily being paid through content. So you don't want to follow the same path. You don't have the same goals. You don't have the same things you're paying attention to. And you absolutely do not want to be the person that's got to be on live on TikTok for 12 hours a day because that's what you feel you have to do in order to get seen and get ahead and be visible. Again, if you are that kind of person and there are some people that works very well for them, I would never be the person that says don't do that, that's wrong, that's bad. There are some people and they make money doing it. They're making a nice amount of money being on live for hours. So there's a lane for everybody, but that doesn't have to just be yours. Like that's not the only way. It's not the only option. And so again, going back, bring this all back together, that is what I feel is the strength in long form content because everything that you're doing content wise, marketing wise, is to get people to the space where you can really give them the goods. You can really give them all the information, all of the things that they need to make an informed decision about whether or not you are the person for them or whether your product is for them. And so having that just for that reason alone is already chef's kiss, right? But even the other benefits that you have, if you have a podcast, even YouTube, you got ads. If you have a blog, you also have the ability to run ads. There is a email platform called Beehive. And Beehive, once you pay for Beehive, that first level, I think it's the scale plan. Once you're on that plan, you're now eligible to use the ads. They have partners every month that they renew. And all you have to do is decide which ad you want to use. And you can put that into your newsletter that you already are sending out anyway, and the people that click on it, you get paid for the clicks. They don't even have to make a purchase. You're literally just getting paid for people clicking on the links. So that is another stream of revenue for you because you're investing in this longer content. So all of these options come with residual benefits that aren't just this is going to convert, this is also going to make me money. If you are an affiliate, that long form content is a very, very lucrative option to include in your videos so that you're already giving people enough time. They're sitting here, they're listening to you talk for, an hour plus sometimes. That is also prime real estate for affiliate, for brand collaborations. And this is again on top of you already getting clients from your content. So you over here getting money from every angle, every direction. And so what I want people to realize is that I guess the biggest takeaway with that whole thought process is that you've been waiting and you've been holding it off and you've been trying to figure it out yourself. And by all means, there are some people who have come to a place where it finally makes sense, but there's so many more people. 'Cause I know because I'm watching. There's so many more people who are stuck. And it's like you're literally hovering around what it is that is your next step, but you don't know what that next step is at the same time because you're still stuck in I can't see where that path would take me. I need to find the thing that makes the most sense. I need to find a thing where the path makes the most sense, where I can see where this can go. And as somebody who is always trying to think, okay, this connects to this and this and this and this, I understand. I understand. But what you might need right now is somebody who can see it from a different perspective and whose mind is not linear. That the way I think, I don't even understand where the connections come from sometimes. I have no idea. I'm like, I don't know why that makes sense to me, but it does. And I haven't had a client yet. Yet, I promise you, you can ask them. I have never had a client who's come to me and told me all the things that they want to do and it didn't make sense to me. Literally every client, I can see it. I'm like, oh yeah, of course it makes sense that you want to have a cooking show, and right now you talk about what would be something that would be random. You sell shoes, like you make shoes, but you want to finesse that into a cooking show. I don't know why that would be the thing that they were doing, but that's how random it feels to people. But when I see it and I understand what it is, that's the common thread in what they're doing, it absolutely makes sense. And so like that's the piece that's my thread, y'all. That's what that gesture means. That's the piece, that's the thread that makes all of this stuff make sense. That is why you see people who are doing things that like do not really make sense together, but it makes sense because of them. Like one person who is notorious for this is Shaq. Shaq literally has a little bit of everything. Like literally a little bit of everything, but it makes sense because of who he is and what it is that he's choosing to do. And so having that and so many other examples of people who go off and do all of these seemingly very different unconnected things, but it makes sense because it's them, that can be you. Like they're not special, they just understand what the thread is. And so that's what I'm going to be walking people through inside of Pull the Thread. And it's also what I do with people one on one as well. And my client that I'm working with right now, we're actually focusing on her long form strategy. And that is where we're focusing our most of our energy, and she's even taking that and creating shorter clips from that, and then we're expanding her videos and turning those into a newsletter and a podcast, which is something that she's wanted to do for years, but now it finally makes sense. And so all of these things are coming together, but I'm not generating new ideas, we're not using new content, we're taking the content that we already made and we're stretching it, we're repurposing it, we're giving it new life, we're making it make sense in this format for this platform. And that way it's like a natural expansion, but everything feeds into the other and it all makes sense. Even her business and her personal brand, all of it flows into one another in the ways that the brand is going to expand from services to products. All of it, y'all, all of it can flow and make sense. And the biggest thing, the biggest hurdle, like I said, is that people just don't know where to start. You're overthinking it, you're making it very complicated, you're giving it all of these ridiculous standards for what it should be out the gate, when what you really need is the courage to follow your curiosity and let that lead you. So that is the first one. I didn't realize that was going to take up as much time as it did, but that's the first thought, y'all. I would love to hear what you think about that, what your thoughts are on that. I feel like that's actually like a really good video just for itself. Let me mark it. Okay. So I've been using Riverside, y'all, and I've been using it for a few months now. I think it's been a few months. It's definitely been a few weeks. And I love this platform so much. I literally just left a marker on this video so that I know where I can cut it off and let this be its own standalone video. And it's going to be its own long form video. And then, however long this one goes, is going to be its own video too. And I, I don't, I can't stop saying good stuff about it. I literally just I had a whole pitch to my client, and I was like, "You need to get Riverside." I love it, y'all. Shameless plug. I ain't got no affiliate code for it, or nothing like that. But check it out. I might put a link to it. I might put a link to it in the description box. Don't hold me to it though, because I have to remember that I said that. But yeah, so all right, that's the first one. We got that out the way. if you're here and you are enjoying it, first of all, let me know. Say hi in the chat, and let me know who you are, where you're watching from, and if you're also enjoying it, please like the live. If you are new to my page, subscribe. If you like this is all of my content. This is what I talk about. This the kind of stuff that I do. I love doing these deep dives. I love doing the case studies. I love talking about creatives, entrepreneurship, and how you can be yourself, have fun, and still use it to monetize. Like you can still get to the bag. You don't have to change who you are in order to do that. I don't feel like that. I don't even feel like that makes sense. And I don't think that it works for many of us. We literally need to be able to just be ourselves. And any room that I go into, anywhere that I'm speaking, it is me. If you've ever been in the room when I gave a speech or taught a class or a workshop, then you know this is how I am in real life. I'm going to be bright. I'm going to have on my orange or something equally as bright. My hair is going to do whatever I want my hair to do. My nails are going to do whatever I want my nails to do. These are so cute, by the way, y'all. Look at these. Aren't they adorable? These are press ons. They are press ons. Let me see if I can get close so you can see. My cuticle's a little dry, but outside of that, fire. Fire. And actually, this would be a good time to tell y'all that I'm going to be doing a photo shoot for Pull the Thread because I want to have some cute pictures for it. I feel like the pictures that I got, I'm still cute regardless. Okay, it's always gonna be cute. But I want it to be on theme. So I have this concept, and it's going to be. Let me see if I can find it. I have this concept for what I wanted to look like, and I'm going to let that be how let that guide my flow for the photo shoot. So I'm gonna take it myself. I'm gonna take it at home. I'm gonna use this camera. This is my baby. This is oh, I love this camera so much. We've been through so much together. But I'm gonna use this camera, and I might do them indoors. Uh, as it rained today, I wanted to try to do it outside and capitalize on the natural sunlight, but that's fine. But I want to have, I want to be in, I want it to feel like I'm like in a room, and it's a room, it's like a studio. And so I want it to feel like kind of like industrial, exposed brick. I don't know why that has such a strong hold on me, but I have this thing where I like the industrial look, but not like that sterile industrial. Like I want there to be a little bit of the raw, but then also still having personality to it. So let me show you. Let me see if I can find the picture. So I used chat to do like a mock up because I never like how it makes me look. It always looks crazy. Okay. Let's see. Just go into it. It's in my files. Uh, I want to rotate it. Okay. So this is what I want it to look like. Come on, phone. Let me turn off the orientation. All right. Lock it. So this is what I want it to look like. So you see it's got, there we go. Okay. There you go. So you can see it tried to do me, but it didn't. It didn't. So this is like the idea that I'm going for. So there's a thread that's in my hand, and I'm sitting down in the studio, and I am pulling the thread. And so I wanted it to have a mix of the different things that I do. So you see, it's got some clothes in the back. It's got a sewing machine in the corner. My laptop. It's over here. A camera, and you see, it's got some of the like the tropical theme. Like even behind me, I got the plant. So I'll bring the plant into the picture, and some of the props that I already have, and it's got the like the cheetah print. I'm even wearing a snake skin, so like that. I don't know how to describe this aesthetic. I just know I like it, and so I want that to be the image for the workshop series, because I feel like it's like the perfect blend of everything. And what was important to me is that it had the parts about it where it was fashion, and it was like actually like sewing, and then also the content creator side, and having that duality that's there, because that is what I feel is going to be appealing to the people who come into the program, who come into the series, is that you want to feel like you're able to bring more of yourself into what you do. So that's what I feel that that image is really illustrating. And so I actually went to the store today, and I had to put together my outfit that I'm going to wear. So I'm only going to do one outfit, and I guess I can show y'all since we here. I'm only gonna do one outfit, but I I am obsessed, y'all. I'm obsessed. So that's the top. I found that top today. I went to the store. I made that skirt that's there, and I had those floral earrings, and it literally is like an outfit that matches my nails. So imagine this, and it's gonna be some gold accessories. It's gonna be like blinged out. So I'm gonna have my rings that's got the rhinestones all around the band, and now I just gotta think about what the shoes are gonna be. But the outfit, the nails, like it's all gonna be it's gonna be so cute. I was so excited when I was like, okay, I didn't know if I wanted to do an orange top, and I know orange has to be in it because that's my brand colors. Like orange had to be there, but I was not sure like how I wanted it to look, and I didn't want it to feel like cliche. Like I took some headshots a few weeks ago, and I wore just an orange dress, and the dress is still cute. I still look cute. I had those same earrings on actually, and the outfit was still cute, but I felt like it looked too professional. Still, it still looked too. It didn't give like that umph that I usually have, and so when I was originally putting the outfit together, like I wanted to have something that was like funky. I think that's maybe the best way to describe what I want. I wanted it to feel funky, and I wanted it to feel like I wanted it to feel like it really was my style, and it wasn't just checking the boxes. And so the outfit that I was going to do at first, this is what it was going to look like. So this is what I was going to do, and that's like a white t-shirt, white and black. I was thinking maybe I'll do white and black, and I still don't. I'm not opposed to that idea either, but I don't have to do that one because I found that shirt, and I went to the store, and I literally was thinking I want to have I want to have a shirt that's brown, and I want it to have flowers on it because I felt like the cheetah print, I like that, and I wanted to have another print on the top, but I didn't want it to be an all over print. Like I didn't want to do something like this zebra with the cheetah, even though there's nothing wrong with mixing those prints either, but it was too much. And so I like that there's a print on it, but it's just like one big flower. And that is is coming together so well. I wonder if I have to look sometime to see if I have lip gloss on my teeth. I did. Okay. I took some of my lip gloss off too. But yeah, so that is the outfit, y'all. I technically don't need shoes, and I might not do shoes. I might just keep it barefoot. Um, but I might just like take advantage of the fact that I'm already going to be made up anyway and figure out some shoes real fast, a little shoe situation. But that's the look. And then I have plenty of orange accessories. I got an orange bag that I'm probably going to have in the picture. Trying to think if I have anything else that goes with it. But I don't think so. I think that's all I got. But yeah, that's the look. So it's all coming together. I have a orange thread. It's yarn, and I'm gonna make it look like of a spool of thread, so that I can have like a big piece of thread in my hands. So I'm really like this. A lot of this is getting real manual. It's getting real creative. But I'm gonna have the thread in my hands, and I'm like do some different things with it. Pull it out, hold it. I'm gonna do a video, and then I'm gonna also have pictures. So pulling out the thread, looking at it, and I'm it's gonna be so fun. I'm just beyond myself right now. I love when I have an idea and I take the time to follow through on it and it works out. Everything works out in my favor. So that's gonna be the photo shoot. So the nails, I show my nails on TikTok. So I was telling them like what I was doing. So I do have to give an update and show the progression for the outfit. But yeah, and these are the nails that I'll have on for the pictures. So yeah, y'all. I got so excited about that. I got sidetracked. But that's gonna be the I don't I said I was gonna do it tomorrow, but now I gotta see if it'll be tomorrow. Like I'm not really in a rush to get it done. You know what I mean? Like I wanna get it done, but I'm also not pushing it too hard. So if I still want to do like some of the like props or make sure I have all the props that I want to use and get that planned out tomorrow, then maybe that'll be the move and then, we'll just go from there. But yeah, you're gonna have a whole photo shoot, a whole little filming day in order. I'm gonna have to record something talking too, so we'll see what that's gonna be. I have no idea what I'm gonna say, but I gotta just like take advantage of the fact that I'm gonna be done up, and we gotta take advantage of when we're put together. So that's gonna be that. I'm feeling like I want to let me mark right here as well. Okay. What should I call this? I'll call this one photo shoot. All right. Ooh. Ugh, I messed that up. It's okay. So let's see, y'all. What else was I saying I want to talk about? Um, I'm having like this feeling like I'm good right now, actually. Um, yeah. I guess the other ideas that I had, I do feel like I kind of touched on the expansion piece and what that feels like, but maybe I'll save that for another day. And if there's more I want to add to it, then I will. I will I will let y'all know that I'm going to have an interview with a special guest, a very special guest. I have to coordinate the day for it. If we can, we're gonna try to make it for this week though. Um, so I have to see what day if we can. If not, then it'll be next week that we'll have it, and she's going to be able to tell y'all what it's like to work with me as a client and what her experience has been and what it's been like for her to create content. And one of the things that I'll say before we actually get to have the conversation on here is that I have had so much gratitude and enjoyment watching how in the beginning it was a I know I need to do this. I know I need to make content. I know that it's important. I understand that it's necessary. However, I also don't really know what this looks like together. It still doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel exciting. I'm just coming here and doing what I need to do. And she really trusted the process with me. We still have plenty of work to do. We still have plenty of time together, but it's already been a month, and our last few pieces of content have been fire. First of all, okay, they have been amazing pieces of content, but also she was excited doing them. She lit up and she's had so much fun. She has watched the content that we made again and she loves it. Like I cannot stop watching my own content. And that to me is the biggest flex ever because that is how I feel about my content. I love listening to my content. There was one time I listened to one of my podcasts in the car and I was like, dang, that was me. I said that. It sounded so good. I encourage myself listen to my own content. So the fact that she feels that way about hers makes me so freaking excited. And we're also honing in on the style of content that she enjoys and what it looks like, how she can repeat it with her team. Y'all, it's so incredible. It's so incredible. I'm so honored just watching it. And sometimes I'm in awe because I don't always know how things are going to flow with people. But what I do know is that I'm going to do my best to make sure that I help you to have fun, to help you bring out your personality, shake off the nerves, and not feel so apprehensive about trying out your ideas and seeing that there is actually a place for these things that you had in mind and the things that you dreamt about doing. There is a place for them. They exist here, they belong here. And you don't have to water down your business and you don't have to make it this minuscule version of what you really want to do and how you really want to show up. You don't have to make it fit and make it cute enough for people to understand you. People can understand you and you get to express more of yourself. You get to bring more fun and creativity and individuality and innovation into the way that you create. And I know that I'm going to end up having people who are going to create whole new formats of content and are going to literally shift the way that people view content for business. And I'm just excited to be a part of the movement. Okay, I'm just glad to be a servant because it is going to it's going to make it so much more freeing and it's going to show people that we've had more variety than we could have ever realized. And there are some things that I feel that are going to come out from this that are even deeper, that I feel it, like I know that it's there, I just don't have the words for it yet. but just knowing that I'm a part of this movement and that I get to see people literally come back to themselves. I don't even want to say come out of their shell. I guess that is one way of looking at it, but it's really being free to be more of them again, like the whole like corporate polished version and the version that's all subdued and I can't show this, I can't talk about this, I can't put this out there because what if it doesn't make sense, or what if it's not what people expect, or they're not used to people speaking this way, like all of the things that we get in our heads about. And even though we know that we can and we have a desire to be more expressive and to not have those concerns, we still do it. We still fall into those traps sometimes. And a lot of times, it happens before we even realize we're doing it. Like, we're not consciously doing it, but it's just, it happens. So all of that to say, I cannot wait for us to be able to talk about it together. She's going to be able to be very eloquent in how she describes it, and so I'm just looking forward to our conversation. So be on the lookout for that. And I think that's everything, y'all. Like I said, if you want to join Pull the Thread, it is available, and the invitation is open to everyone who's tired of content being boring, feeling like a chore, feeling like, ugh, I know I got to do this, but I'm just so over it. I'm over the same old, same old. I know that I have more potential. I know that I want to do more. I know that I want my business to expand more. However, I don't know how to start, and I don't know how I can bring these different versions, these different aspects of myself into it without it being confusing. That's why you need to pull the thread. Find the common thread, find what connects them, turn your fun into authority, turn it into content that you can put on repeat, and ultimately connect it back to what you do. Connect it back to the bag. And you can see for yourself, you never had to be this professional version, this business version of you in order for your business to succeed. So, for those of you that are going to be a part of it with me, I can't wait to see you there. And that's it, y'all. Be good, stay safe. If I'm able to, I will come back this week and do another live stream, and I will tell y'all ahead of time because I just hopped on here because I had to. But till then, y'all be good, stay safe, take care of yourselves, have fun, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video. Bye.